So recently I did a 28-day challenge where the purpose was to share your message to whatever that looked like, and to share it on Instagram because that was the platform they chose. And for the last few years, my relationship with Instagram has been on the one hand less than desirable, and on the other hand confusing even to like describe. So in the sense of less desirable, I'm someone who you could classify more as like a lurker, someone who kind of just scrolls, right? I don't post. I post things like about my daughter, about Junie and Paul, and maybe some things like that I see, and I'll share them on my story. But like, it's definitely not like 2013 Instagram. It's different. There's this like desire to show up and be seen, and to be seen for like publicly, not by everyone. This is just my experience. But then there's also this other, like this confusing side to my relationship with Instagram is that I I want to be seen. I want to share my messages. I want to speak. I want to share what's really going through my mind on a relative daily basis, but in a way that makes sense and it has the right target audience. And, it's not like I'm just wasting my time. And then I question, like, is there really such thing as a waste of time in general? And like, I received an email today from a Substack that I follow, from someone I know personally, and he shares his words, his writings on Substack, and I haven't. And where I'm going with all this is like, I am stuck, and I recognize and I know that by saying I am, like anything that you follow with I am is true for you. Your body listens. But to avoid bypassing how what's actually occurring, I'm going to state it. Like, in this moment, in my life at this time, there is a stuckness occurring. And I think what I realized in a very brief moment watching my friend's Substack video that he just posted is that the way in which I'm trying to share me is incorrect for me. There's been a lot of that. There's also a piece of something I realized recently too, that I've been trying to exist in a way that is incorrect for me. And so I think there's a thread, there's a pattern here. So in human design, you have centers of consistent, reliable, accessible energy. And so if you go pull up your own chart, which there are many places to do it, just put in your information, you'll see there'll be like colored in centers, and then there'll be white centers, depending on the background of the platform that you're using. Like sometimes, like there's this one that's like the whole background is black. It's all like to save energy. And so those uncolored in sensors, the undefined centers, will show up as black. So just recognize that. So anyway, there's defined centers and open centers. And within the definition, the defined centers, this is like that consistent, sustainable, 24/7 accessible energy that if you have those, you can tap in at any time. Out of the 9 centers, I only have 2 that are defined, that are consistent and accessible whenever I want. And those 2 centers for me are my identity center, so who I am, and my willpower. Sneeze. And so, like the way I speak is not consistent. The way I think is not consistent. The way I process emotions is not consistent. The way I feel fear is not consistent. It is essentially when I'm by myself, which I don't get enough of that anymore. I don't get enough of me time, alone time. And I'm not sure I ever actually allowed myself to have alone time, because that actually means being without social media, the influence of other people's thoughts, words, and ideas, without television or movies, without other people. Like, I've really, in my life, very minimally ever given myself space to just be with what is occurring naturally inside of me for a long enough period of time where the dust can settle inside of me, the muddy waters can clear again, like to off gas everything else that I consume. It's been so long since and maybe I've never actually done that. And so the biggest thing I'm recognizing, just to circle back, is like, I'm not consistent in the way I do things, and I'm not meant to be. And I've tried so hard for so long to be something that I'm not, to show up in the same way every single day. I mean, and this is like, forget about the fact that I'm a woman and we're not meant to do that regardless. Like, we have 28-day cycles, relatively, give or take a few days. So just adding in that fact that I've been trying to show up in the same way every day, with the same exact routines, with the same exact energy, with the same exact way of doing something. And but even in those 28 days, even in a more nuanced way, I am reliant to a certain degree on the external world for what is available to me. If that makes sense. So if I'm with someone, for example, who speaks very clearly, or no, let's go a different route. Let's say I'm with someone who's really closed-minded, negative, and fearful, and I'm with them. There will be a really larger than for some impact on my internal beingness to be affected in that way. And if I'm with them for too long and I forget that that isn't me, I will take it on as it is me, that I'm negative and that I'm fearful and that I shouldn't trust anyone, and and then I so not only I take it in, I take it personally, and then I amplify it and I send it back out. And it's like, this is me. I'm fearful and I'm hateful and this is who I am. But inside, somewhere here in the center chest throat area, where I'm like, I know that it is not. And so there's this just massive internal conflict. And so that is something I feel like I grapple with, have for so long. And then you add in life and all its continuing just stuff. You add in a baby, you add in a partner, you add in house duties, you add in family drama, you add in friend drama, you add in societal drama, impending doom, war, famine, pestilence. It's just like, it's a lot. But today would be a great day to do things different. And so that's how this feels. I'm sitting here in the Costco parking lot, kind of way out. I'm up I'm up at the Ankeny one, where I'm just like sitting and looking out at the field and the people driving by. And we'd recently got a ton of snow, and so everything is kind of covered in ice and covered in snow, and it is so beautiful and calm and quiet. And it's the one thing about winter that I really appreciate and love, and that I've not given it enough acknowledgement in a long time, maybe ever. So that's more who I really am. Someone who is calm, present. So what I think with these videos, I'll make them whenever they come up to help me process, because that's what this is. This is also a thing that I've been struggling with the whole Instagram thing, is like, well, who is this for? Is this for you, viewer who's watching? Sure, maybe you'll receive something from this, or maybe you won't. But really, it's for me. It's for me to process what the hell I am experiencing in life. And as I unlearn what doesn't fit and relearn what does. You know, watching my friend's video today, I was very present to and aware of his reality in that moment with what he was sharing. Like, granted, we get to choose what we share. So, and it could only be a piece. It might not be the whole story. It's never the whole story. But watching that, I was like, wow, I would love to get to where he is right now. Because I've been there. The concepts that he was talking about was very about like the present nowness, that's all there ever really is, that the future and the past are just these constructs of the mind. And they are. But I'm not internally in a place that is actually present to discuss, that is present to be shared. Because what is present right now is this mixed up chaos that I continue to keep operating from. I had a friend, cousin, recently ask me or tell me that there was some confusion around why I give so much value to systems like human design. And it's because it's the first system that has truly ever landed in such a way that was so clear and so accurate and so, I mean, just so wildly how to explain this? To feel so seen and from something that is like systematic, that is not based on opinion and not based on like an immediate judgment or like it's objective. There we go. It's objective. It's not subjective, I think. So with human design, like, and I know that here's another thing about human design is that it's just like any other type of system. It can put you in a box. And that's not the point. The point of these systems is to free you from the box. With human design, there is a kind of a parallel system, a sister system, maybe a mother system, I don't know, but they go hand in hand, called the Gene Keys. And so going back to what I had said to you about this chaos, this space of chaos and maybe entropy and dislocation that I operate from, is literally described in my Gene Keys. And I'm not going to attempt to describe what Gene Keys are. But they're in the same way, like the human design, like astrology. It's It's like a snapshot in time from the moment that you were born, and also a few months before you were born, where all of the stars and the planets align, and they give this certain energy signature to you, to your existence, to this human body, to this soul cellular experience. And so there are these like themes and patterns, and so human design is more about like the car that you drive, how it drives well, what kind of gas you need, what kind of environments you need to function and be the highest expression of who you are. The gene keys are more like purpose-based. They're larger. It's a larger pattern. It's not really about the car that you drive. It's like, it's the essence of the car. What's the theme of the car? What's the meaning of the car? What's the purpose of the car? And within the gene keys, there's within each key that you have activated within you, there are two sides to the coin. There's the shadow side, which is operating usually in fear, and then you have the light side, the city, the fullest, truest expression of it. And this is like when you're operating at your highest, at its highest, at that center's highest self, that key's highest self. And that's based in love and trust and understanding. And so the entropy and the dislocation and the chaos that I was describing earlier, from which I almost have always operated from, is literally written, it is clearly stated in my keys, in my activation sequence, which again, this is a lot of words that really don't matter unless you understand gene keys, but like the way in which I show up in the world, what I'm here to do, what I'm here to learn. The shadow side of those two keys are entropy and dislocation. Dislocation being first, that's what I'm here to do. But I'm here to learn how to be in a space of unity, in a located space, in a space of like absolute, complete trust and love and openness. And what I'm here to learn is to move from a state of entropy in which a system is just chaotically spinning and losing energy to like pure presence and freshness and beauty. Those are the names of the keys, of the one key. And so as I sit here and I'm like, I have these moments where as I'm speaking, I sit out and I look out, and as I'm sitting here, and I have these brief flashing moments of like, oh wow. And that's all there is. I'm not like naming anything. It's just like, wow, fuck, it's so beautiful. Like, and it does something inside of me that's not really nameable. It feels expansive though. It feels calm. It feels settling. I feel located. I feel here. I don't feel chaotic. I don't feel dissociated, dislocated from my experience. We played a game over Thanksgiving called Dolphin Trainer, which is hilarious. So if you ever just Google Dolphin Trainer, it's like an improv game. But what you do is someone goes away to a different room where they can't hear the main group, and the main group comes up with an action that person, they need to get that person to do when they come back into the room. And it was such a good test and experience of like getting things wrong, getting things right. This like, so for example, let's say one of the signs like do this, right? Get the person to do this. And so when a person comes out, they have no idea what you're wanting them to do. And so they're going to start to do some types of moves, and you either go, yeah, yeah, or like, no, 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 no. Like, and I think I didn't look up all the details on how exactly we're supposed to play this game. So I just kind of went off on like yelling yeses and yelling nos and been like, so it's kind of this like hot and cold game, but you're being like screamed at. And that was the idea, at least for me, was to like make it as chaotic as possible. Because it gets funnier that way, in my opinion. It's not meant to be harmful, but it can be if you have some big woundings of getting things wrong, which is also why it's a really good practice, because it's fun, and you get to recognize like, oh shit, I hate being wrong. Or, oh wow, I actually don't mind being wrong, so this game is actually fairly easy for me. Or I'm just able to compartmentalize that this is just a game, so I don't mind getting things wrong. But anyway, where I'm going with this is like, as I sit here, I'm looking out and I'm noticing these feelings of like, oh, this is calm. This is expansive. It reminds me of the game for when you would start to get close to this, like this movement. Like let's say I move my hands up here and they're like, yeah, yeah. And then I'm like this and they're like, no, no. And so I move my hands back here. And so we would kept reminding people like, find the yes again. Find where the yes was. And stick around there. And then try different things in that area until you get to the yes, and so anyway, so I'm reminding myself in this moment is like, oh, don't focus too much on the no's. Focus more on what's the yes. What's that like internal like attunement, or just following the yeses of like, oh, this is the spot where the North Star needs to be, where the aim needs to be. Because more often than not, I spend time focusing way too heavily on the no's. No, this isn't right. No. And then the more I do that, the more my brain goes there, because that's how our brains are wired. What we focus on, we focus more on. And it's like social media. It's like the algorithm. It is wired like our brains. It mimics our brains, in my opinion, in so many ways. What we choose to look at, our brain gives us more of. And so, yeah, I actually feel really good about this video. More often than not, when I speak on these, I have these feelings of like, God, what am I even talking about? This is so pointless. This is so purposeless. Like, and this one doesn't feel that way because I know why I'm speaking. I know who I'm speaking to. And I feel really good about the topics I spoke on today. So that feels really good. So I think I'm going to save this, end this here for the sake of having space on my phone, because this is a 20-some minute video. We'll post this as a Substack, hopefully, if I can figure that shit out, and write about it a little bit. And we'll go from there. Thanks, friends. Thanks for being here. Thanks, Mia. Thank me. Thank me to me. I thank me.